To start, we'll look at how restricted stock is taxed. Now, it's important to note that restricted stock is different from restricted stock units, also known as RSUs. So please keep that in mind when I'm going through that. When you are granted restricted stock, you have an option to elect 83B or not. If you do not make this election, it has to be done within 30 days. There are no tax implications. Instead, you will be realizing tax at vesting. So assuming your restricted stock is on a time-based vesting schedule, that is when you will have to recognize or realize tax. And the taxes will be on the spread, or the difference between the value of the stock and anything you paid to purchase the stock. This is going to be taxable income, and your holding period for capital gains now starts. With the 83B election, what you will have to do is make sure you do it within 30 days of grant. And when you make the election, that is when your tax implications will start and your holding period will also start. If you make the 83B election, the spread or the difference between the value at the date of election and what you pay for the stock is going to be taxable income. And it's important to note that this is an irrevocable election, and the tax paid is non-refundable. So even if you forfeit the restricted stock, you will not get a refund for any taxes paid. So it is a little bit of a gamble, but there are tax advantages for making this election, and I'll explain those in just a moment. So the tax implications, if you do not do the 83B election, or if you do the 83B election, come down to federal income tax withholding at the statutory rates of 22 or 37%. There's also Medicare tax, Social Security, and or a potential additional Medicare surtax. Your tax basis is going to be the fair market value of when you recognize this income for tax purposes. So if you don't do the 83B, your tax basis is going to be at vesting. If you do the 83B election, it will be on the date of that election. Now, one of the benefits of the 83B election is that you will potentially pay less in income because the value on the date of election will likely be lower than at vesting. Now, the flip side of that is you will pay more in capital gains, but capital gains are taxed at a lower rate than regular ordinary income. So that's one of the advantages of doing the 83B election. But again, you are taking some risk because you may end up forfeiting those shares.